Welcome to the Echo Ratings preview show here at the series finale of the 2018 Event Rider Masters series. And my goodness, we've been talking about it all year. It's been building up to this moment, leg 6 of 2018. Delighted to be joined by Derm Bird from Echo Ratings. Derm, you're going to tell us just what we need to look out for this weekend. Can you believe that we're finally here? We're going to crown the 2018 series champion.
Yeah, I mean, brilliant that we're here at Blair. Brilliant that we're finishing here. You know, we've had so many we've had European Championship here recently. We've had brilliant Event Rider Masters legs here recently. It's always been very influential in terms of where people have sit. You know, the cross country is going to catch a lot of people on time. So to be finishing here, I think it's going to be a big finish.
We're going to talk about the leg in a little bit more detail in a few moments. But before we do, let's talk about the series. Because Oliver Townend won in 2016. He actually took the leg here to put himself in real contention going to the series finale at Blenheim that year. Gemma Tattersall, our 2017 series champion, secured her title here at Blair. So it's played an instrumental part in deciding that series winner each year. Chris Burton leads with 96 points, ahead of Laura Collett, 10 points ahead of her. She's on 86. Tim Price in third on 81. So they're the three on the podium at the moment. What we all want to know, can Chris Burton hold on to that lead? He's 10 points out in front. Is he going to be the 2018 series champion?
I mean, look, we're going to talk for the next 2 days about reasons why he can't be. We're going to definitely talk about ways that he can be caught. But being honest, I think that 10 points is, you know, I think he's given himself a big lead coming in here. And I think it's going to be difficult for Laura London 52 to turn over 10 points. Could they close a 5-point gap? Probably. Wesco arriving late in the Event Rider Masters with Tim Price. Could he close a 5-point gap? Perhaps, probably. But, you know, a 10-point and a 15-point gap, I think Chris has... It's Chris's to lose, definitely.
So what does Chris Burton need to do this weekend to secure the series beyond any doubt?
I think he needs to stay on his horse. You know, I think he can actually probably potentially afford a 20 penalties. And don't forget, it's not that long since Polystar came here. Coming down that hill 2016, he'd come from a win in his first ever series. How many times have we seen Polystar since go on with big influential rounds inside the time we saw that Arveel this year in the Event Rider Masters? Wasn't that Polystar? It was.
Absolutely, and those 20 penalties cost him a chance of the leg win here in 2016.
Exactly.
And that was pressure. You know, you're riding fast cross country, mistakes can happen.
Yeah, and Blair will catch it. I mean, we've seen, I mean, we go back to that Europeans when you're coming home. We've seen it in the Event Rider Masters in 2 legs here. Like one of the Event Rider Masters, actually the 2016 Event Rider Masters here at Blair was the lowest ever cross country jumping clear rate. Just 50% of the field jumping clear.
Okay.
So now last year it was back up in the mid 70s in terms of a clear rate, but this is a place where you can get jumping penalties. Don't forget, do you remember the heartbreak? Who was expected to win last year? There were
Bettina Hoy, Senior Medical in 2016.
What was the last run though? Remember, it was the horse's last international run. They did a PB in the dressage. I'll come back to me in a minute.
Lebowski.
Yeah, Lebowski.
Beanie Sturgis.
Remember Lebowski coming home? All the excitement. Lebowski, this cross-country machine. We're going to be talking about Graf Liberty this weekend. Yes, he was the fastest horse here last year by 5 seconds. Yes, Chris Burton is the fastest rider in the world. We won't need to go on about it anymore. Yes, he's 5, 10, 15 points clear at the top of the series. But it can happen. We saw it with Lebowski last year. It's happened to Chris with Polystar here. But my feeling is he's so fast and he knows what he has to do that he can afford potentially to have a 20 penalties and still get home fast and still stay atop at the leaderboard. What he has to do, though, is finish. And if there's something like that, there's something that he doesn't finish. So he got to stay sound across the competition. You know, in eventing, it can happen. You just don't get to the final day. You don't get to the final phase. You don't cross through the finish lines. If anything goes wrong here where he doesn't finish, yes, it's obviously open because he has to pick up some points. 10 points is enough, but not enough if you don't pick up any, and they do pick up big points.
And I think that's the thing, isn't it? Because the pressure is on. Laura Collett 10 points behind, yes, but she chased him home in Arveel with London 52, the horse she brings forward here this weekend. Actually, the only one of the three in the top 3 in the podium of the series who doesn't have previous Blair form. But this is a horse on an upward trend for Laura. And actually, everything to prove this weekend, nothing really to lose.
I don't know if I'd say nothing to lose. I mean, definitely a bit to lose because they've got to retain their place there. London 52, as you say, not that experienced, but big upward trajectory. When we look at the dressage, let's just look at the dressage. I know we're going to talk about the leg in a moment, but when we're just concentrating on those three up around the top, London 52 is trending somewhere around the 30 mark, maybe just a little bit below it. Graf Liberty and Chris Burton, they're closer to the mid-25. They're mid-20s to the 25 mark. And probably the same at Wesco. We've only seen 2 runs from Wesco in 2018 at international level, but it's been a 25 and a 25.2. Graf Liberty, Chris Burton, likely to have a pole. That brings,
just the one pole?
Yeah, I think probably just one. But I mean, looking at that recent show jumping form, it could be more.
I'm going to say more. They had 2 poles down here 12 months ago.
Yeah, you're right. It could be more. But like, let's think where that puts him. Mid-25, 29, 30, 33. I don't think he's going out on cross country last. Laura Collett jumps clear probably on a 28, and Tim Price jumps clear probably on a 26, 25. So now I think you're probably looking at Chris Burton going out there on 33. I think there's the potential that, you know, Cloud Dancer's ahead of him. I think Dargan could be ahead of him. I think you could be looking at Chris Burton having to go maybe 5, 6 from home come Sunday afternoon and leave those other 2, probably Laura and Tim, I expect, going probably in the last 3. Now, this is difficult. This is hard because you're calling it now with like two phases ahead and you're saying, okay, I expect them to be in the last 3. But what I mean in terms of pressure is that I think they will know exactly what they have to do. Chris won't know what's coming after him, you know.
He's just got to put as much pressure on them as possible.
I mean, he won't think about pressure at all. He will go out there.
Does he even feel pressure?
Well, he must a little bit because, yeah, he must a little bit.
Well, we'll tell ourselves that he does.
But I think... No, I think Chris will go out there, jump a very solid, safe round. I think he has natural speed, and I think it will be wrapped up 5 from home. That's my
one thing I would say, Graf Liberty, Chris Burton, Graf Liberty has never not completed an international
that's what I mean.
event.
We're going to have to, Nicole, we're going to have to build excitement around this. But, like... sometimes you just have to hold your hands up and say, Graf Liberty, Chris Burton, outstanding year. We saw it with, you know, Gemma delivered it last year. Oliver Townend with this big late push delivered it in the first year of the Event Rider Master Series. In terms of like how we report on sports, in terms of how we've talked about the series over the course of 6 legs, of course we're going to build up hope and excitement, but sometimes it is okay as well to say, like, it's been an outstanding season for Chris Burton. I hope he goes and finishes his job. I hope he wins it 5 out, you know, and that it's just simple, normal services, service resumed.
Eventing, always simple, normal service.
Yeah,
we absolutely cannot take anything for granted this weekend because the leaderboard could shuffle, and if anything happens to those top 3, you've got the likes of Bill Levitt, Izzy Taylor, Oliver Townend, all waiting to claim a place on the series podium. Yeah,
you've got to see some issues take place, I think, for them to really make a mark. So, or a massive performance from one of them. So you see Bill win. You've got to see a Bill Levitt win at Blair. And by the way, that's not out of the question. We saw Bill come very close here in the first Event Rider Master Series when he put 2 legs together. Am I right? Was it 16? I think it was 2016. He had 2 perfect legs, and then the cross country, I think it didn't go right. Bill Levitt is one of the best, holds the record for one of the best dressage scores ever. That was actually improvise back in 2015 maybe.
Here at Blair?
Here at Blair, It was a 25. And Shannondale Titan, it's now, in terms of experience, Shannondale Titan this weekend is going out into his 30th CIC 3-star. There isn't any other horses in the field who are coming close to that. So there's lots of tick boxes, and you don't need me to talk about Oliver's experience, Izzy's experience. There's lots of reasons why they could, but I think you'd be wrong to focus on anyone other than them. They need an outstanding performance, and you need
the stars to align elsewhere.
You need serious excitement and madness at the top end of the leaderboard to take place for them to come in.
It is entirely possible that they'll get onto the series podium. They'll be looking to capitalise if anything happens, particularly to Laura Collett or Tim Price, who, if they have a problem and don't complete for any reason, then they will be looking to climb.
Yep.
Okay, so let's talk about the leg. We've talked about the key contenders really in the series. What about the leg? Who is going to take the win here? Should we start with Kilnabrad and Evo, Oliver Townend, who won here back in 2016?
Let's. I mean, I think he, if I'm honest, I'm just getting my stats up here for you, but I think he probably...
He was on the podium in Wiesbaden a little bit earlier on this year and actually hasn't quite been on form since that moment.
Well, he'd never knocked a pole with Oliver.
No.
He'd never knocked... I mean, and you can extend that back into Andrew Nicholson as well, where it was now a run of like 15 internationals, never knocked a pole. Goes into Barbary and he was what? I'd already designed the graphic. I'd already got the social media
it's all
thing.
Your fault.
I know. I already had the thing written, like to say he's now become, you know, he'd now pushed ahead of every other horse in the world at 3 and 4 star level in terms of that streak. And like, what did he knock? 4, 5, 4?
He had 5, I think.
5, yeah. 5.
5
and
at Barbary.
But then, you know, we talked to him when we talked to him about that later. He said, okay, first one, I was disappointed, but then it became a learning experience and it was just there to learn. Fine, you can understand that. But then we go on to the next one and he knocks what, 2?
He had 1 pole down in Jardy. Still finished 8th.
Yeah, Gatcombe as well.
That pole cost him a podium finish in Jardy.
Yeah.
And then went to Gatcombe. Actually, we'll talk about Gatcombe because he actually scored sub 20 in the dressage, which would put him in Event Rider Masters record territory here this weekend at Gatcombe. Then had 2 poles down the show jumping, then had further problems in the cross country. So,
yeah, now, recency bias. He's a class horse still. Oliver is a winner. Look at what's going on at Blair at the moment. People at home are going to be looking at the results from, you know, what's coming in from Blair, what's coming in around the eventing world this weekend. And, you know, what you'll see on social media is, look at him, 1, 2, 3, 5 in the other class here at Blair. This guy has won here at Blair before. Yes, he can win. And yes, on the numbers at the moment, he is favourite. You know, what I'm seeing, for the first time ever, I'm seeing a pole beside his name. That's never happened. That's only because of the last 3 rounds. But I'm still seeing probably the dressage leader.
okay, so we're expecting Kilnabrad and Evo to lead the dressage here.
Yeah.
Pole down in the show jumping. Who else is going to challenge?
It says here a pole down. I will be backing him to keep the poles up. I think he's back on form. I just wonder if the speed will be there across country. I've always had that concern. He's proved me wrong on a track like Blenheim. I know he has delivered on a track like Blair, but don't forget.
He didn't have to deliver that day, did he?
That was when Bettina had her problems coming to that double of hedges at the end, and he just heard it, you know, slow it up. Yeah.
Could take a pull.
And it was actually something similar when it happened with Izzy at, what was the other leg that he won in 2016?
Gatcombe.
Yeah, and it was something similar that happened that day. So I still have that little thing that, like, if he's pushed on the speed on a track like that, I'm not positive it'll be there. He could prove me wrong. But for that reason, if I start looking, and I know you need me to get on, just stop kicking me here. I know I'm moving on the goal. But what I think is, if you start putting all these things together, Kilnabrad and Evo, brilliant in the first phase, probably still going to jump clear. I still hope he can jump clear. When you put them together, I think Wesco.
There's a little bit of doubt, though, isn't there?
When you go across all the legs.
Okay.
As the best, I just said it to Tim Price out there, and he said, please don't put putting pressure on me like this. But I said, he's the all-rounder. Wesco's the all-rounder. Wesco.
And he's won here at Blair before. He actually took the long format 3-star back in 2013. So he's got good Blair form, which is a big plus.
I think you couldn't have put him up as a favourite up until you saw what he did at Arville. No, was it Jardy? Yeah.
Jardy, when he was second, finished on his dressage score, first big international competition back in a couple of years. He was pretty flawless that weekend.
You'd had so much time off that, yeah, we know the horse is class. But with so much time off, he just couldn't really be back. You had to say, oh, look, give him a little bit of time to settle back in. He settled back in with 225 dressage scores, showed his speed and his jumping clear. Class horse here. Tim says he's fresh, strong, ready to go. If he can keep a lid on that dressage test, and I expect he will be fine by tomorrow, mid-morning, I expect Wesco to be mid-25. Expect him to jump clear. I think he's going to have the speed to really challenge. I think Wesco's the leg winner.
Wesco's the leg winner.
Yeah.
Okay, let me give you some other names.
Yeah, go on.
Then you can tell us if they're going to be up there as well on the podium for the leg. Shane Rose won here 12 months ago with Virgil. That horse is going to the World Equestrian Games. He brings CP qualified, the 4-star winner.
Yes, likely to be in your top 3, I would say, after dressage.
Okay.
Maybe, well, I would say has the potential to have a pole, so I'm going to put a pole down there beside him. So again, let's say mid-25s, even 26, at a pole, 30. Out there across country, Blair Hills, I would say... I'm going to say he's not going to be fast enough with some of the ones. I'm going to say mid-35 finish. Yeah, good, very good.
Good enough, but not good enough for the podium.
One thing I would say about him while we're here and while we're on the dressage, of the last 10 events that we've had at Blair, CIC 3 stars events since, what, 2009, I think it started here. We've had a couple of different classes, so we've about 10 now to look at. 8 of the 10, the winner, the eventual winner, has come from the top 3 after dressage.
Okay.
Of the two who broke those, the 2 outliers, one was Shane Rose here in Derja.
Okay, last year.
Yeah, and the other goes all the way back to 2009, opposition Buzz and Nicola. So actually, that dressage still is a good, even though we've got, you know, the hills and the time penalties, we talk about them a lot, the show jumping, that top 3, getting off to a good start is going to be really important.
Going to be crucial. Okay, so who else is there? Cloud dancer, Janelle Price on the podium here 2 years ago.
Janelle is going to challenge in the first phase. So again, I think, can she hit that metric around being in the top 3? Absolutely. Time, I think she's fast enough. I think she's probably faster than CP qualified. I think she's probably in around Kilden Bradnevo and potentially a little bit faster. Maybe Wesco and Graf Liberty would be a little bit ahead of her, ahead of Cloud Dancer. Show jumping poles would be my question.
The other thing, it obviously hasn't quite delivered internationally. Wiesbaden had problems, Arveel had problems, but has since come out and won 3 national events on the trot.
Yeah,
so
yeah. No, you're right.
Janelle Price, Cloud Dancer, I think they're going to be back to form this weekend. Emily King-Dargan never really delivered in Event Rider Masters leg previously, but they come here having won the under-25s class at Bramham and finishing 4th at Gatcombe.
Big turnaround in form for Emily King and this horse. You know, Dargan was having cross-country problems at this level. Very good at 2-star. Definitely was stepping up, but just not getting clear rounds. We've always known this pair could deliver in the first phase, and they're going to be going out quite late. I think they're second last to go tomorrow morning. Yes, they can in terms of the first phase. Yes, they can in terms of the show jumping. They have given us clear rounds jumping cross-country, but on the basis that they do, you know, I'll go give them the benefit of the doubt now and say yes, they'll jump clear, even around a tough Blair. Will they be fast enough?
Well, they were fast at Gatcombe, and Gatcombe is another really hilly track. 5th fastest of the day, I think, at Gatcombe.
Agreed. Okay, I mean, on that basis, we can work together and say potential there for a top 5 finish. She's going to need things to go right for her, probably on the cross country. But has she got the ability to do it? Yes. Okay,
well, I think we've got to that stage. We're going to go for the predictions. Okay, so, first of all, series podium.
Okay, Burton wins.
Chris Burton wins, okay.
And then it comes down to, for me, it still comes down to Collett and Price. London 52, Wesco.
So how far ahead of Laura does Tim really have to finish?
I think you're probably looking at about 3 places.
Obviously, that will depend on where they're finishing in terms of the points that are available, but about 3 places ahead. Okay.
I mean, this is something that we're going to have to look at for the entire weekend. We've got all our spreadsheets ready and open.
I've got him. It'll be fine.
But I reckon, look, I think Wesco probably wins the leg, which means that he'll pick up maximum points. He'll pick up maximum points.
Damn. Series podium. Chris Burton, you've said he's going to win. 2nd and 3rd.
Laura, 2nd.
Going to hold on to 2nd, yeah?
Yeah.
Tim Price in 3rd.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. I'm going to say, actually, that I think Chris Burton wins. And,
series.
Yeah, Chris Burton wins the series. Tim Price is going to overtake Laura Collett. I know, because I think he's a firm leg favourite, and I think she'll go well this weekend, but I think he'll do enough to overtake. And I'm going to say that Laura will finish 3rd in the series. Give us a leg podium.
That would mean Laura would have to be not in. Oh, well, you're right. Look, if Tim was to finish 1st and Laura was to finish 5th, he's ahead of her.
He's ahead of her. Okay, I think that's an entire...
If she was to finish 4th, if Tim wins and she's off the podium, he's ahead of her.
There we Okay. So Laura Collett has to finish on the podium this weekend if Tim Price wins to stay ahead of him in the series.
Tim will be wanting Janelle and Cloud Dancer to...
Yeah, he'll be giving Janelle a pep talk before the cross-country. Okay, leg podium.
Wesco wins.
Wesco wins.
Graf Liberty. Graf Liberty is going to be seriously fast, and I still think that he could do it. But just for excitement's sake, I'm just going to hope that some madness happens. But
well, you've got to have Laura Collett on your podium if your series podium is going to work.
London 52's trajectory continues, and I think Tim gives Janelle that pep talk. Cloud Dancer takes third, and we have like a brush off or something for Burton.
Oh.
It won't happen, but come on.
I mean,
there's no reason to expect it, but let's just...
That is quite the prediction. Will Chris Burton be able to jump clear in the cross-country? Can he hold on to that series win here this weekend? He holds the lead, and he has all of the ingredients in his locker to pull out a really, really big result with Graf Liberty. On the podium here 12 months ago, I think he's going to be on the podium here again in 2018 and take the series in style. What do you think? Make sure you get in touch with us. Find us on Facebook and on Twitter at Event Rider Masters and let us know who you think is going to win the leg and the series in 2018. We'll be bringing you all of the action live and free. EventRiderMasters.tv. You won't miss any of the action. It promises to be a real roller coaster. We'll be with you every step of the way. We hope you can join us.